Welcome to Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh, presented by Audi.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
All right, first things first. How about Jordan Whitehead? And who in this room did not think X was going to get one today? We all know.
Yeah, that's done. That's done. Yeah.
Hey, listen. Hey, I'm proud of every single one of y'all, man. The absolute fight, the dog in this room. Enjoy this. Enjoy this. Let's do it again. 1-0 in the division.
It's time to get it on. The Jets are going to Big D, Dallas. Week 2 action. Eric Allen with Bart Scott and Brian Baldinger. Bart, an emotional victory. They showed a lot of mettle last week, Monday Night Football, in front of the nation. A 22-16 overtime victory over the Buffalo Bills. Now they're going to have to step up in class on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to take the show on the road, but they have to do what they always do. You have to pack your run game and pack your defense. That's how you win in hostile environments. Dallas is charged up. They have high expectations, but the Jets do as well.
You know, I like how they just did it, Bart. They hung in. It was 13-3 forever. They just hung in there, and then the plays, you know, whether it was Whitehead, Xavier Gipson in overtime. Look, players got to make plays. It doesn't matter what the name in the back of the jersey is. It doesn't matter if you're a free agent or if you're a #1 draft pick. Like, you need players to make the plays, and they did that, and they're going to have to do the same thing in Dallas.
Let's go inside the numbers right now, presented by New York Lottery. Of course, Baldy, we're going to start right here at the top with number 2. Zach Wilson takes over again. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers goes down against the Bills with the Achilles.
Well, look, the cliche is next man up. But, you know, this was supposed to be the apprentice year for Zach Wilson. Learn from the GOAT. Well, the apprenticeship is over. You're the man. Everybody's counting on you. You don't have to be a hero. Like, there's enough talent around Zach Wilson where he can either hand it off to 1 or 2 or 3 really good running backs, lean on the offensive line, let the Garrett Wilsons and Alan Lazard, let the guys do their job, and just play within yourself to win this game.
Bart, his defense can help him win the game. How about last week? Jordan Whitehead, a career high 3 interceptions against the Bills.
Yeah, I know you talk about not since Ty Law has a Jet had 3 turnovers in one game. Being able to take that momentum. They're going to face a quarterback that had a clean game, you know, a semi-clean game his first game, but we know he has a turnover history. You have to make sure that you get other extra opportunities. Continue to put Zach Wilson on the short field. You're going to have opportunities, but I'm excited about this defensive line and see if they can stand up to arguably the best offensive guard in recent history. I want to see if Quinn is going to step up. This is one of those weeks where you say, hey, they got a dude, we got a dude. Let them square off together.
That third number, how about Xavier Gipson, undrafted free agent from Stephen F. Austin?
Bart, you were a free agent, right?
Yeah, undrafted.
I was undrafted free agent.
We know what that's like about.
The thing is that we always have to try to prove ourselves. Always. And nothing would make a team feel better about you or more welcoming than what he did, that walk-off punt return in overtime. It was well designed by Brant Boyer, the special teams coach, but the kid delivered. And we talked about him all preseason. He's got speed. He had some moxie to him. Aaron liked him. The organization liked him. And he went and delivered.
All right, fellas, great start. Now let's find out what's brewing. Here's Caroline Hendershot and Ethan Greenberg.
It's time for What's Brewing, presented by Dunkin'. The Jets run on Dunkin'.
All right, Ethan, Jets are 1-0, headed on their first road trip for the season, down to Dallas, but let me give you a stat. You ready for this?
I am ready.
Last 3 times the Jets have played the Cowboys, so 2011, 2015, 2019, the Jets have won all 3 of those games.
And how about this? Both the Jets and the Cowboys played at MetLife Stadium, under the lights, different days, of course, in Week 1. And with Dallas, on its defense specifically, you have to watch out for Micah Parsons. He's only been in the NFL 2 seasons. This is his 3rd, but both years, first team All-Pro, both years at least 13 sacks. And that Dallas defensive front, they made a statement in week 1. They had 7 sacks.
Okay, yes, the Dallas D-line put on quite the performance, but so did the Jets D-line on Monday Night Football. They had 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hits, and Quentin Jefferson led the way with 2 of those sacks. So this matchup between the Jets and Dallas is going to be very heavily defensive focused.
It definitely will be. This is a strength on strength for both the Jets and the Cowboys. I'm excited to see how it plays out, though.
Me too, in a couple of hours.
Coming up, Eric Allen will sit down with Jets head coach Robert Saleh.
Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information.
Gibson runs under it at the Jet 35. Starts to his left, gets to the 40, turns the corner at the 45, 50. Blockers in front at the 40, at the Bills 30, inside the 20. Stutter steps to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! It's a Jet touchdown! This game is over!
In the Jets' previous 45 games, when they trailed by exactly 10 points at halftime, they were 3-42. How were you guys able to pull it off last Monday night?
There was unwavering faith in the locker room that we were going to get it done. They've got no quit. There's so much grit in that locker room, and I felt like we just kept getting stronger as the game went on, and I think it showed on tape, and it was exciting to see the result.
What was it like for you on the sideline in overtime?
You know, when you made the coach's vantage point, you see the punt and like, oh, he missed it. The punter mishit the ball. Right there, you're just looking for him to make the first guy miss. And so when he made that first one miss, it was like he's gone. It was a pretty cool moment.
What about the moment in the end zone? Because you got down there in no time yourself with
Yeah.
Nicolini.
No, you know what? That part's blackout, but you know, we're one of the lucky ones. We get to, on game day, experience every emotion that the human body has to offer, and it's like nothing that anyone can ever experience in a 4-hour window, and we get to experience all of it. And it's pretty safe to say on Monday night we experienced all of it.
With that being said, how bad do you feel for Aaron Rodgers and his investment here, and how excited he was to lead your team?
He's the one I hurt for most. You know, this isn't, at this moment, it's not about us, it's about him. You know, he's given so much, and for this to happen this quickly, you know, it's just very unfortunate for him.
No, looking ahead, what's your expectations for Zach? And also, can you talk about in terms of what you've seen from his growth here throughout the offseason and now as he takes the offensive reins once again?
He's come a long way, man. His confidence, he's having fun. Felt like he looked good yesterday. I felt like he showed great resolve coming back from that interception. We got a lot of confidence in him. I think he's restored confidence not only in himself, but his teammates.
I know you got a ton of confidence in Breece Hall, but I mean, he comes out, 10 carries, 127 yards, and adds a reception for 20 yards.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
What makes him so unique?
I don't know, man. He's a big man that runs fast, but he's this very slippery, deceptive runner. And you could see, like on that breakaway run where I think everybody on the Jets sideline was celebrating because we thought he was gone, and he got hawked down, which we'll make fun of him for, but his speed's not quite back yet. And he, you know, but it's getting there.
So he's going to get better.
Oh my God, yeah. He's going to get a lot better.
How encouraged were you by the takeaways from your defense? You start the season with 4. You had 16 last year. Jordan White had 3 interceptions.
Pump for Jordan, you know, because Jordan, I think, has been fairly criticized, unfairly criticized. Thought he had a really nice year last year, and for him to come down with those 3 interceptions, he's worked hard at it this offseason to make sure that when he's put in position that he makes those plays, and I'll be a son of a gun, man. He had a hell of a game.
Let's talk about the Cowboys and what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. How impressed are you by that unit? Can you talk about Dan Quinn a little bit?
He coaches defense the right way, man. They get after it, especially up front. Very similar style to ours. Obviously, the fronts are a little bit different, but the style and the overall philosophy and messaging is the same. They're sound, they're disciplined, they play their tails off, they're physical, athletic, fast. They're definitely a problem.
Let's flip it to the other side of the ball. Your defense going against their offense. Obviously, Dak Prescott, no Zeke Elliott there in the offensive backfield, but Tony Pollard playing well, and at the receiver position, they got a lot of guys, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, but your defense got to be feeling awfully well where it is early in the season.
This Dallas team we're playing, they're pretty damn good too. You know, it's their offensive line is stacked pretty good. Obviously, their skill guys are as good as anybody in football. Tony Pollard has got explosive breakaway house call type speed, and obviously Dak, he's one of the better ones in the league. So again, we got our hands full. It's going to be a tremendous challenge.
Let's close it right here. You made it clear before that I don't know why people are writing an obituary on the Jets season. How much confidence and faith do you have in your group?
A ton, you know. Say I'm biased, you know, but I think we got a championship defense. We got championship caliber skill guys. We got an offensive line that's going to continue to grow and show that it's also a championship caliber offensive line. So, and Zach, like I've said, he's improved so much and he's only going to get better. And obviously, I love our coaching staff. I love our GM and his scouts. And I just think we've got a really good thing going here. And so, yeah, I'm a little biased to the progress that we've made and will continue to make.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
This exclusive interview with Robert Saleh was presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information.
Coming up, Bart Scott and Brian Baldinger will break down the key matchups between the Jets and the Cowboys.
What now? Now what? I've always had a belief that the difference between player A and player Z is just opportunity. And so when you get those opportunities, what do you do with it? All right, what's your mindset? There is no drop-off, offense, defense, specialties. The expectation is that we stay the same or get better, period.
Now they have to look forward. They have to stare into the mirror and say to themselves, what are we going to do?
Watch that defense last night. I'm telling you, the Jets are going to be right there.
This film breakdown is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires.
Eric Allen here in studio with Brian Baldinger and the Mad Backer himself, Bart Scott. Baldy, Breece Hall coming off an ACL injury,
Yeah.
10 carries, 127 yards against the Bills, and he's going to be counted on for more against the Cowboys.
And it started on the game's first play. I mean, if you watch this right here, this is just basic outside zone here. They're going to double both down men right here. All right, now, that gets it started. So right here, Breece sees this. He sees the safety, Micah Hyde, coming right at him. Now, can you make him miss? He's coming right in the hole. And you watch Breece right here, bam. There's the cut. Now he's got color right here, right? So you see this right here and you go, all right, how are you going to get away from that right there? And then he makes this second cut. And this is now, from here, now you see this acceleration away from the other safety right now. And you see the burst. And that's what you always want to wonder about coming off an ACL. Is the burst going to be there? You saw the lateral quickness, and then you saw the burst on the first play. Like that had, for him, that had to feel unbelievable. But for every Jet fan out there, they're like, he's back. He's back already.
Bart, it's wild because he's such a big guy. He's thick, but slippery in the small spaces.
I mean, just remember, he was the lead for Rookie of the Year before he got injured. He was averaging something like 6.3 yards per carry. So we know that he's also a guy that can give you home run playability from the backfield. That's rare to be able to find a back that can give you explosive plays. And if he does that, those safeties are going to have to come down and honor it. And if you blitz him and you get caught out of your gap and he gets to the second level, good luck.
Gentlemen, Breece Hall, he's a freak, but so is Micah Parsons for that Dallas defense. They had 7 sacks last week, and he lives in the offensive backfield.
Yeah, I tell you what, some would argue and say he's a super freak. When you look at him right here, he's a guy that they line up all over the place. He's a guy that's elusive. He's a kind of like their Troy Polamalu. Just find a hole. And he uses athleticism. He's great in the infighting. He talked about his boxing in the offseason, his unconventional training, and it pays off, right? Because he's super explosive. He can accelerate. And if you're an offensive lineman, what you don't want to do is push him away from you because of his acceleration. If you push him away from you, you're giving him what he wants in that space. He can try and run over you, but he's going to try and use his athleticism. I think the Jets have a tremendous opportunity to run at him, knowing that he's going to sometimes be unconventional and undisciplined and gap integrity and exit the gap. There are opportunities to get explosive plays from the area that he voided. So you don't run away from a great athlete like that. You run towards them and force him to anchor and use his power, which he's only 250 pounds, opposed to use his athleticism, one of the most explosive athletes we have in this league.
Great breakdown, guys.
Don't go anywhere. Bart and Baldy will put their coaching hats on and deliver the winning game plans.
Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh is brought to you by MetLife, the official insurance company of the New York Jets.
Dalvin Cook, the lone setback. At the 4-yard line, 2nd down and goal. Zach Wilson drops back, lob left for Garrett Wilson. One-handed catch. Oh, he's got it. That's a Jet touchdown. Garrett Wilson with an unbelievable self-tip.
This segment is presented by the official digital transformation partner of the New York Jets, HCL Tech, supercharging progress.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Corner of Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh. Ethan, Jets Cowboys, 425. Who are we talking about?
Well, the Jets are on the road, so let's start with the home team. Let's start with Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, because when you look at the score from Giants-Cowboys last week, you might have thought that Prescott threw for 300-plus yards, multiple touchdowns. That's far from the case. This guy threw for 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, only completed 54.2% of his passes, but obviously that's a high-powered offense. That's not going to happen every week. I will say, however, Prescott, 5 games he's played against the AFC East in his career. He's 2-3, 7 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Okay, something to also keep in mind when talking about Dak Prescott, his favorite guy to throw to, CeeDee Lamb, ranked 6th in receiving yards last year and 4th in targets. So obviously his favorite go-to. Let's go to the other side of the ball. The Jets team, running back, Breece Hall, made his debut return game 127 yards, 10 carries, highlighted by his big 83-yard run. I know fantasy owners were really worried about how the Jets were going to split up the carries between Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook and Michael Carter. Dalvin Cook actually had more carries, 13 carries, but only had 33 yards. So we'll continue to monitor how that workload gets split up between all 3 of those running backs.
And Dallas has a fantastic defense. I will say, last year against the run, Caroline, the Cowboys ranked 22nd in the NFL, allowing 129.3 yards per game. But this is where it gets tricky because fantasy owners want touchdowns. Dallas only allowed 9 rushing touchdowns in the 2022 season.
And speaking of touchdowns, both of these teams scored on defense/special teams last week. So if they're available to pick up, make sure you pick them up.
Today's game plan is presented by the official digital transformation partner of the New York Jets, HCL Tech, supercharging progress.
Gentlemen, are you ready to put your coaching hats on?
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's game plan.
All right, cool. Since you played offensive line during your career, you're going to be Nathaniel Hackett this week.
Okay.
Going against that Dallas Doomsday defense that shut out the New York Giants. How do you plan?
I want to test Dallas's run defense. I mean, I saw Breece Hall on his first 2 carries go for 29 and 83. You know, he had 11 touches total the other day. Like, I want to start picking that up a little bit. But I want to run Breece and Dalvin, and I want to see what I can do with that. The best way to counter speed, Bart, is to, like, literally, and the blitzing and the twist stunts and everything that Dallas is good at is run right at him. And that's what I want to do.
Fascinating matchup for Jeff Ulbrich against that Dallas offense that wasn't asked to do a lot last week, but they do have weapons.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with Zach Martin, right? And that's going to be the test, right? He's the most effective in passing. I don't think he's given up a sack in a couple of years. You have to understand who's their bell cow. And you got to take the challenge and dare to be great. I'm going to make sure that I'm loading up that way. I'm going to lean to Quinnen when Quinnen's away from Zach Martin. I'm going to stack up that side. I'm going to make sure that we have coverage. We're going to see what these corners are all about because I need to load up this box and make this team one-dimensional. We saw a lot of this, right? And that's banjo because Tony Pollard is great in receiving as well. So I'm making sure that the communication has to be key. But Dak is a guy that will throw you one, and he's not always accurate. You got to make him, get happy feet a little bit. Sometimes by playing extra coverage, sometimes by lighting him up a little bit. You have to mix it up a little bit to make sure that he confuses himself.
The Jets are taking their act off Broadway against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll soon find out if they're going to make it 2-0 for Baldy and Bart. Enjoy your football weekend.